find that comfortable seat. We'll bring our hands to our knees. Sit up nice and tall and allow your eyes to flutter closed. Let's take a moment to just sit here and breathe. And now I invite you to intentionally focus on stillness. Think about not moving your legs. Focus in on keeping your hands and fingers still. Think about keeping your eyes behind your eyelids still. And in this stillness, bring your attention to your breath. Your entire focus is on the sensation of air entering your body and the warmed breath leaving your body. I took a class yesterday morning where the instructor talked about our monkey minds, that it's always moving and jumping from one thought to the next and what the next to do is. So we're going to bring that monkey mind into peace and stillness by focusing in on your breath. Letting go of anything else. Anything that monkey tries to hop to, just let it float away and come back to your breath. Notice that your breathing has slowed as your body settles into peace. Focusing on the air entering the body and the breath leaving the body. Let's begin to invite some gentle movement here. On your next exhale, let's drop our right ear over to our right shoulder. Your next exhale will bring that chin down to the chest, allowing the head to hang heavy. Your next inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Let's inhale that head back up to center. Sit up nice and tall. Imagine there's a string attached to the top of your head, pulling your spine long towards the ceiling. Let's take our feet, bring the soles of the feet to meet, and push the feet away from us, creating a long diamond. We're going to fold into butterfly here. So with those feet meeting, that spine nice and long, on your exhale, hinge forward at the hips, reaching long with the spine until you find your edge of movement. And at that edge, we'll allow the spine to curve and the head to drop towards your feet. Breathe here for a moment. Take stock of how you feel here. Well, we do want to feel a sensation of stretch and release. We don't want there to be any pain. This shouldn't cause your breath to change. If you feel that this is going to build to be too much, feel free to bring in some support for the head to rest your forehead on. That'll take a little pressure off the back of the neck and the muscles down the spine. You can also bring support underneath the knees if you're feeling too much sensation in the inner thighs. Again here, coming back to that idea of stillness. Allow gravity to be the only thing that moves you. Think about what you can let go here in these final few breaths. Is there some place where you feel tension that you can intentionally let go? Focus in on your final 2 breaths. And then slowly, 1 vertebra at a time, begin to roll yourself back up to a seated position. Your head is the last thing to come up. Let's place our hands behind us, lean back into those hands, and find some windshield wiper for just a moment here. Gently moving your legs from side to side, moving slowly and with purpose. Let's take 1 more round of this windshield wiper, evening everything out. And we'll set up for our next stretch, a half straddle. So come up to your seated position. We'll extend that left leg out to the side, pull the right into center. So we're pulling that right heel in nice and close. So sitting up nice and tall here, we're going to reach up with the right arm and reach over our bodies, leaning towards our toes. So we're going to feel a lot of this in our right side body and also in our left hamstring. We'll breathe here for just a moment. On your next exhale, let's drop that right arm to the floor, turning our bodies towards the floor, towards that left leg, which will change the stretch. You might feel this a little bit more in the side of the low back now. Again, relaxing through the leg, letting that leg just be heavy. Let the head go, hanging low over this left leg. Again, if you'd like some support here, you could bring a bolster on top of that left thigh to support your upper body. You could rest your arms on blocks, bringing the earth a little closer to you. Always returning to that idea of stillness. Trying to hold the fidgets at bay. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, begin to walk yourself up, returning the torso to center. Sitting up tall for a moment before we set up for the other side. Let's switch legs, extending that right leg out to the side, pull the left leg in, finding that half straddle on the opposite side. When you're nice and settled in, ground the sits bones into the earth. We'll inhale that left arm up and overhead, reaching for those right toes. So again, this isn't a strain. We're not stretching to reach. We're just moving that direction and then allowing the body to hang. So let that left arm kind of serve as a weight to ground you down into this stretch. Breathe into that left side body. I really feel this one in my lower back on the left side. So breathe into that sensation. One more breath here in this side stretch. And then we'll drop that left arm towards the earth, turning the torso to face that left leg. So again, switching the stretch more from the side body into the back and the hamstring. Letting the arms hang heavy, letting the head drop towards the knee, curl through the spine, and then let go. We talk about being still in these postures, but not if that stillness prevents you from relaxing. I just noticed I was holding pressure and tension in my foot, so releasing it called for a movement. That movement is more important than the stillness. The release of tension is more important. So as you check in with yourself, while we are focusing on being still and allowing gravity to work, we're still allowing for those slight, gentle movements that bring us deeper into this posture. Let's take our final 3 breaths here. And on your next inhale, again, begin to walk yourself up slowly, moving gently in your bodies. Sometimes these long holds can invite some stiffness and allow that movement to be gentle. We're going to bring our feet in front of us, plant the feet on the floor, reach the hands behind. We're going to lift our hips up into a reverse tabletop. So let's turn our fingertips to face your hips. Toes, of course, are pointing away. Press into your heels, lift your hips up, undo that forward fold, bringing space into the front body. And then exhale, lower the hips slowly back down to your mat. Come up into a seat. So from here, we're going to move into Sphinx pose. So find your way onto your stomach. And we're going to bring our elbows underneath our shoulders. Couple things that we can do here. So if this is a lot in your low back, take those feet out nice and wide, and maybe move the elbows a little bit ahead of you. That will release some of the pressure in the low back. You can also bring a bolster underneath the chest for some support, if you like to do that. If this is not quite enough for you in this stretch, you could also bring blocks underneath the forearms to increase your lift. Just as some options. Wherever you find yourself in this stretch, we're thinking about pressing the pelvic bone into the earth and then lifting our head away from our shoulders. So not really just crunching in like this. Lift up out of those shoulders. Your nose is pointed right about the ends of your fingertips. And then come back to that concentration on the breath and the stillness in the body. maybe our final 5 breaths here, check in with yourself. Are you clenching your teeth? Have you dropped into your shoulders? Pull those shoulders down and away from the ears. Let's take one big final breath here together. And on your exhale, let's take the elbows out to the side, stack the hands, and bring the head down to rest on the hands. From this place on your stomach, let's pull that right knee up towards your armpit. Allow for a little release in the low back here. Let's extend that right leg long again. And this time pull the left leg up into the armpit. You may need to turn your head to be more comfortable. Extend that left leg long. From here, we're simply going to roll over onto our backs. We're going to move into Banana Asana, which is a very fancy yoga term. So I'm going to turn this way so maybe you can see. We're going to, once we find ourselves on our back, we'll walk both of our feet over to the right side of the mat, and both of the hands extend overhead and reach to the right side of the mat. So we're making a moon shape, a half moon shape, a crescent moon shape with our body. Both shoulders and both hips are on the mat. And we're feeling the stretch up the left side body. So all the way through the outer thigh, the IT band, up into the rib cage, and up into the arm even. Now a couple options here again. If this is a lot, if this is too much and you feel like you need a little stability, cross the right foot over the left, which is kind of backwards in this pose, but that's going to give you a little bit more grounding, a little bit more balance. If you feel like you need a little more in this posture, cross the left foot over the right. That'll deepen the stretch and the pull up into the IT band. You could also grab onto the left wrist with the right hand and lift and then drop back to the mat, increasing the stretch up through the shoulder and into the arm. So while we're thinking about this extension of the left side body, we're also thinking a little bit about compression on the right as we squeeze through that right waist and extend through the left. Release through your shoulders. Allow them to soften down. I feel this stretch most intensely in my left IT band, so I'm sending my breath there, encouraging space and encouraging release. take one last big deep breath here. Feel that breath expand the left rib cage. And then on your exhale, begin to walk your hands back to center. Pause here for just a breath. Allow the body to realign. And then we'll walk over to the left side. So left feet and legs head, or both feet and legs head over to the left side. Arms extend long overhead and then work their way over to the left as well. Both shoulders grounded in the mat. Pause here in just the basic pose for a moment. Check in with how that feels before you move into any modifications. So again, to further ground, cross the left foot over the right. If you need to deepen the stretch, cross the right over the left. And again, you can find that extra pull through the right hand as well. Think about squeezing in on that left side now while we find the extension in the right. Coming back to the idea of intentional stillness. Take 2 more breaths here in this banana shape. And after your second exhale, we'll begin to walk our hands and feet back towards center. Pause here again. Allow the body to realign. And then we're going to bring our knees into our chest. Grab onto those knees with your hands and just find some circles with those knees. Big circles, like you're drawing big circles on the ceiling. Moving in one direction a few times. And then we'll switch directions. Bringing those legs to stillness, let's plant both feet on the mat. We're going to cross our right leg over our left and wrap it around as many times as you can. So right thigh over left, maybe even tuck the right foot underneath the left calf. Press the left foot into the mat to scooch your hips over to the right side, and we're going to drop both of our legs over to the left. So finding eagle legs in a twist. Right shoulder stays grounded. We'll extend that right arm out to the side. And really feel this twist pulling down through the side body, a little bit into the glute with the eagle legs. if you can hear that. Usually in our classes we're trying to work around construction noise, but in my house now we're working around dogs barking. So again, just another opportunity to practice letting go of distractions and coming back into focus in our stillness and our breath. One more breath here. Let's return the head to center. Slowly pull the knees up through center. Adjust the hips. Unwind the legs. Rest in stillness for just a moment. And we'll set it for that same twist on the opposite side. So this time, eagle legs, left leg over right. Maybe tuck the left foot underneath the left calf if that's available to you. And if not, that's completely fine. You can leave that foot free. Press the right foot into the mat so that we can shift our hips over to the left side and then drop both knees to the right. Left shoulder stays grounded. Left arm extends. If you have this space in your neck, look out towards those left fingertips, or you can just keep looking at the ceiling, that's fine. Let's take 2 more breaths here in this twist. Thinking about releasing and deepening the stretch with each exhale. And then we'll return the head towards center. Slowly pull the knees back upright. Unwind the legs, adjust your hips, and find stillness for 2 breaths. Okay, friends, that concludes the yin portion of our class. So we're going to prepare to do a little bit more movement now. Still a deep stretch, but just a little bit shorter holds. Let's pull the knees into the chest, and we're going to begin to rock ourselves from our sacrum to our head. A little massage in the back. Let those rocks get bigger and bigger until we finally bring ourselves up to a comfortable seated position. If you have blocks or are using books as props, now would be a good time to maybe grab those and place those to the side of your mat. From this comfortable seat, we're going to come either to one hip or just roll over the feet into table position, finding our hands and knees here. Let's take some manipulation through the spine. So on your inhale, shine your heart forward for a cow spine. Exhale, curl the spine up, cat. Push the earth away. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time, inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Let's put our hands about a hand's length in front of our shoulders. We're going to tuck our toes, lift our hips up and back for a really brief down dog. From this down dog, we're going to walk our feet forward to meet our hands, coming into a forward fold. Take a moment to hang out in this forward fold. We got a little bit in the hamstrings earlier, but we may not have woken them up completely. So being very gentle here, maybe deep bend in the knees and then a lift. Let the head hang heavy, the spine get long. One more breath. And then on your next inhale, we'll halfway lift and lengthen, placing the palms on the shins, reaching the head towards the front of the room. Exhale, fold. We're going to step back with that right foot. Drop the right knee, uncurl the right toes, coming into a modified crescent. Here's where your blocks may come in handy. With the left leg forward, right leg back. Inhale up, reaching up for the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale, left hand down to the block on the outside of the left hip. If you don't have a block, you can also bring your hand just to the hip, reaching long through the side body. Thinking about pulling that left hip back and in, so we're not just dumping into that hip. Pull it back and in, reaching long to the side. Take a breath here, feel that expansion through the torso. And then on your exhale, we'll release, come back to center. Bring the hands to frame the left foot. We'll walk our hands back towards the right knee for a splits prep here. So that left leg is extended, a little more active than our yin portion. Pull the toes back towards the shin. Lengthen your head towards your toes. So instead of curling in this one, we're seeking length in both. Breathe into that hamstring. If you have a block to your left, let's move that out of the way. Walk our hands back forward, coming back to frame the left foot. We're going to wiggle that left foot out to the side here. Left toes pointed towards the left side of the room. Walk our hands over to the left foot for a side lunge, bending into that left knee. Feel this one up the inside of the left thigh. On your next inhale, let's push away with our hands, lengthening through the left leg, straightening it out, and then exhale back into that lunge. Let's walk our hands back to the front, leave that left leg where it is. We're going to lengthen the left leg out, turn the toes towards the front of your space, and inhale up for a gate pose. Now my leg's all wonky here, so I'm going to have to take a minute to pull it back so it's coming straight out from the hip. Hips are nice and level. Lift up, gate pose. Exhale, right hand to the mat for a modified side plank. Think about lengthening, pressing through the outer blade of the left foot, pushing the hips forward, pushing away from the ground with the right arm. Lots of length and strength here. Let's drop that left hand to the mat, walk both hands back towards center, pull the left knee underneath, find yourself back in tabletop. Let's take a round of cat-cow here. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Walk the hands forward again just a bit. Tuck the toes. We'll return back through that down dog. Lift the hips up. Baby step your way forward. Feet meet hands. Find ourselves back in that forward fold. So if you have your blocks handy in this forward fold, maybe bring one right between the feet. We're going to place the left hand on the block, deep bend in the left knee, straighten the right leg, inhale that right arm up to the ceiling. So we've got a fold and a twist here. Pull the right hip back away from the right shoulder, lengthen through the body. Exhale, let's bring that right hand down. Switch it out for the left, bend the right leg, straighten the left. Inhale, left arm to the ceiling. Think about lengthen the spine here. Exhale, left hand down to meet the right. Let's scooch that block back out of the way if you're using it. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Let's plant your hands in the mat. We'll step back this time with the left leg. Drop the left toe, drop the left knee, uncurl the left toes. Inhale ourselves up for that modified crescent. You have your block and you need it for the side stretch on the right side. Now that I've gotten you into the stretch, we're trying to find our block. Sorry, I could have planned that a little better. Inhale up nice and tall for length, and then exhale over to the right. Again, block or hip, whichever feels better for you in this stretch to open up that left side body. Just making sure to pull that right hip under and back so we're not just kind of dumping into it. Reach up, lift up. Your next exhale will bring both hands down to frame the right foot. Walk them back towards the left leg, finding that splits prep on this side. So again, thinking about length here and active stretch. Pull the toes back, lengthen the head towards the toes. Hips are level. Your next inhale, we'll place both hands into the front of the mat, maybe with the right foot on the outside. We're gonna walk that right foot over to the right side, toes pointed out to the right. Walk the hands over to the inside of that foot, and we'll lunge deeply into that right leg, deep bend in the right knee. Your inhale, let's push away with those hands, lengthening through the left leg. And then exhale, bend back into that lunge again. See if you can go just a skosh deeper. Let's leave that right foot where it is for a second. Walk your hands back towards the front of your mat. Now we'll turn those right toes to the front of the room, extend the right leg. Inhale up, find your gate. Again, once you get here, I'm gonna have to adjust a little, maybe you will too. Make sure that right leg is coming straight out from the hip. Pull that right hip down so the hips are level. Inhale, hands up. And then exhale, left arm to a block or the mat, side plank. Press through the outer blade of that left foot. Both hips reach towards the front of the room. Push away from the earth with the left hand. Keep the ears and shoulders away from each other. On your exhale, we'll bring that right arm down to the mat. Walk them back around to the front. Pull that right knee. Good heavens, I'm the only one doing this and I'm still getting my lefts and rights mixed up. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Find yourself in tabletop. Come back to that cat-cow for a moment. Let's find stillness in this cat-cow. We'll inhale the right arm, and I'm sure it's the right arm this time. Inhale that right arm up. And on your exhale, we'll thread the needle, bringing it underneath the chest through to the left side. Come down to the right shoulder and the right side of the head. Left arm reaches long. Use your left fingers to grip into the mat and almost pull that arm away from your body, lengthening out through that left side. You can also rotate that left shoulder open towards the ceiling, deepening the twist. If you do deepen the twist, make sure you pull that left hip back away from the left shoulder so we're not kind of crunching in over there. Pull that whole side long as you twist. One more breath here. On your inhale, pull the left hand underneath the shoulder, press up, sweep that right arm up to the ceiling, and exhale down back to your tabletop. We'll set up for that stretch on the opposite side. Inhale the left arm up to the ceiling. Exhale, thread it underneath the body, coming down to the left shoulder, left side of the head. Right arm reaches long. Again, check in with your hips. My hips like to jut over to one side when I do this. Pull them back to center, long spine. Use the right arm to pull your side body long. And if you'd like to deepen that twist, open the right shoulder to the ceiling. Again, check in with those hips. Make sure they don't pop over to the right in this twist. Last breath. Your next inhale, right arm comes in, pushes you up. Left arm sweeps up to the ceiling and then back down to the earth. Find another round of cat-cow here, moving with your breath or finding any other movement that would feel good to you right now. It doesn't have to stay with cats and cows. And then finding stillness in this tabletop, we're going to tuck our toes behind us, walk back so our hips are sitting on our heels. I have you all muted so I can't hear your groaning, but I know you can do this. Sitting up nice and tall on those heels, lifting the head towards the ceiling, thinking about lifting the body off the heels so that mental picture of lightness while we get that stretch in the bottom of the feet, palms rest on the thighs, come back to that idea of stillness. If it at any point gets to be too much, go ahead, rock forward and tap your feet on the floor, come back into it. Let's take 3 more breaths here. One more breath, don't rush. Now roll forward, untuck those toes, tap the top of the feet on the mat. Oh, that feels good, doesn't it? Who knew such a tiny little stretch could be such a booger? All right, let's cross those feet behind us. We're simply going to roll back over the feet, coming into our comfortable seat, and then find our way onto our backs. We'll take a reclined pigeon here. So once you find your way to your spine, we're going to cross the right ankle over the left. So instead of the eagle legs where we took thighs over, we're just going to cross the right ankle, making sure you have full range of motion of that right foot off the side of the left knee. Reach through the little hole that you made here, grab onto the back of that left thigh, pull those legs into your chest. Let's keep active feet for this. So flex both feet, pulling the toes back to the shins. If you would like, you could use your elbow to push that right knee away while you pull in with the left leg on the right ankle. Send your breath to that right hip. Let's take one more breath here. On your exhale, release the hands, allow the left foot to fall to the mat, uncross the legs. Let's find that same windshield wiper motion here, as we did before, dropping the knees from one side to the other. Gentle twisting motion. Finding stillness here, we'll set up on the opposite side. This time crossing the left ankle over the right knee. Make sure we've got that range of motion there. Flop that foot around for a second. Reach through the little hole you made, and now we're going to activate the feet. Pull the feet in towards the shins, and then pull the right leg in towards the body. Breathe into that left hip. Think about also lengthening the distance between your left shoulder and your left hip. So we're not just collapsing into that side body. So everything stays nice and long and the stretch comes just from the hip. One more big breath here. And then on your exhale, release both legs. Take a moment here in stillness, and then we'll find those same gentle windshield wiper twists, just dropping the legs to one side and then the other. Moving with your breath through this, slow and steady, so the entire inhale is moving up, the entire exhale is lowering down to one side. Let's move for about 2 more breaths. Make sure you're evening out both sides. And then finding stillness at the top. From here, we'll come into a gentle inversion to finish class. So we have some options for you. You could place, if you have a block handy, you could take a block or a bolster and place it underneath your sacrum, lifting the hips up, allowing them to settle back down on the block, and then extending the legs towards the ceiling for waterfall. This feels really good after all that low back and hip work that we did. If you don't have a block handy, a book would probably be pretty uncomfortable for that, but if you don't have a block handy, you can place your hands underneath your sacrum so that the fingers are pointing towards your tailbone and lift the legs up for the same sensation. One more big breath here. And then slowly allow the legs to fall back into the chest. Release the hands or the block if you had one there. Bring the feet to the ground. Give your spine a moment to settle as we prepare to set up for our final Shavasana. So this will be our final pose, our resting pose. Any props that you have handy, I wish I could bring you some blocks and blankets. I feel like I'm missing out on an opportunity here to get yourself comfortable. If you're ready to move into your Shavasana, I invite you to pull your knees back into your chest and wrap your arms around them. Lift your eye sockets up to your knees. Squeeze your toes together. Make little fists with your fingers. Squeeze everything in tight. And then on an exhale, let everything go. Legs out long, arms down by your sides. Settling into this place, we began class with a focus on stillness and breath, and I invite you to come back to that as we melt into our Shavasana, giving the body an opportunity to accept the changes that we've made, finding stillness, finding peace in your Shavasana. Let's slowly begin to deepen our breathing. Bringing awareness back to the body by making small movements with your fingers and toes, hands and feet, arms and legs. If you're ready, maybe you can end those movements with a big stretch, reaching hands overhead, toes long, taking up as much space as you can from fingertips to tippy toes. And I invite you to stay on your back, or if you'd like to roll over to your favorite sleeping side. Taking a moment here to come back to that idea of stillness, where we can find peace within ourselves despite whatever else is happening around us. If you're ready, let's push up to a comfortable seated position, facing wherever I guess you'd like to face. We don't really have a front of the room anymore. Let's bring our hands to heart center in Anjali Mudra, eyes closed. It was an honor to guide each of you through your practice this morning. I hope that you found some peace in your stillness and something that fed your heart and your mind. Let's bring our thumb knuckles to our forehead. The light in me sees, honors, and appreciates the light that you are shining brightly for everyone around you to see. Always remember that your presence is a gift. Let's acknowledge our fellow yogis wherever they might be by offering each other namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you, friends. I appreciate you tuning in. I have finally figured out the YouTube process, so this will be on my YouTube channel. Feel free to use this throughout the week if you need to find some more deep stretch. Otherwise, I will be back at 10:30 next week doing the same thing, so check out for that email. I'll send it out to everybody. So everybody stay healthy and stay well through this next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.